Thank you for coming for my ordinary show. I'm MasMas, and I'm really excited to talk to you about your journey.
All right, thanks for having me.
Yes. So I believe I went through your background, and there's this phenomenal story you have about your childhood, then real estate, then deal making, and then this mastery of the skills you do every day. So tell me, Abraham, tell me about your childhood. What was the seed that was planted, and you did not know about it, that led to you to this entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so when I was younger, again, my parents got divorced when I was really young. Probably, let's see, when I was 1 year old or so. And I lived with my mom for a few years, and we didn't get along. And then I ended up moving with my dad for about a year. He got remarried, had a stepmom. I was a bad kid. I misbehaved all the time. And I ended up going to foster families, and I went from one to another to another. Wow. Eventually, I ended up going to a boarding school. And then after that, it was like a short-term thing, like a year and a half I was there. Then I went to a few other foster families, and then ended up living with my grandmother. That's how I moved to Atlanta. Because I was in Florida before that.
Okay.
My grandmother lived here in Atlanta, and I moved here, and that was when I was 15. And ever since, I've been in Atlanta. And I collected sports cards when I was younger, and I turned that into a business when I was 15, when I moved here, and started doing really well with it. And it gave me freedom. Every time I made money, it gave me some freedom to do stuff. So before I started having my own money, I had to listen to everybody. Well, I was supposed to. I never did. That's why I was always in trouble. But in theory, you're supposed to listen to people, because if you listen to people, you get what you want. Like if I didn't do anything you wanted me to do, you're never going to help me or give me anything.
Exactly.
But if I listen to you and I do whatever you want me to do, you're going to give me stuff. So I always have to listen to people and do stuff to get stuff. Then once I started making money, I didn't have to listen to people anymore. I could just do what I wanted because I had my own money. So it got addictive, and I realized that's how you ultimately become successful and do whatever you want in life. So I started doing well and just grew my business, then started other businesses, and then eventually got into real estate. I started making a lot of money. And
so what were the few businesses you started before you got in real estate?
Yeah, so before real estate, I was really big into sports cards. I set up every single weekend at sports card shows, and I would sell a lot throughout the week online.
Online?
Yeah. Even this is back in like 1989, 1990, 91. They had Prodigy.net. And Prodigy is where I sold most cards back then. And then eBay started a little bit after that. So I started selling on there. And there was a couple other things before eBay that were kind of similar to eBay that were good that I used to sell on. And that's where it started. And then from there, I just got into other collectibles, because sports cards is really just a collectible. So I got into other collectibles. Anything that got hot every single year, I would just get into whatever was hot. Beanie Babies became really popular in 1997.
Nice.
That's when I got into Beanie Babies. But even before that, like Pogs became really popular one year. Power Rangers another year.
So you learned sales.
I learned sales, and I learned figuring out what was hot, what people wanted, and how to get it at a price to where I could sell it and make good money.
So tell me about your first real estate deal and what attracted you towards it.
Yeah, so my first real estate deal was actually a home that I bought to live in. So I lived with my grandmother when I moved here when I was 15. And in 1997, I was already like 21. At that point, I just wanted to move out and be by myself. So I didn't want to live with her anymore. I didn't need to. And I had plenty of money, and it just didn't make sense to stay there. So I went and looked for a property, and that was my first property. I bought I lived in Atlanta, and I moved to Gwinnett County in Lawrenceville.
Nice.
And I bought my first house there in Lawrenceville back in 1998.
Oh my God, there must be all forest and like.
It's
changed.
It wasn't much. Yeah, it's like a big city now. Back then, it was like there wasn't hardly anything. So I bought that in 1998, and then from there, I bought a couple other properties like 6 months later, and 8 months later, 10 months later, I bought like a few rentals. So I had a friend of mine who's like, well, you should diversify. You're making all this money. Why don't you buy some rentals, and you'll have some cash flow coming in, and long term down the road, you're going to build a lot of equity. So I was like, okay. So I bought a few rentals pretty much within the first year of when I bought my house to live in. I did well with those. I had to put down, like at the time, like 20%, and then they'd finance the other 80%. And then I bought a house that was in bad shape after that, and I fixed it up. And I flipped it, and I was like, damn, this is kind of cool too. So that's kind of what got me into fix and flipping. And then I had a friend of mine. I had a friend of mine that was in the same business as me. We were both selling Beanie Babies at the time. And he's like, my landlord, I rent the house. My landlord wants to potentially sell the house, and if you want, I can probably get you a good deal and buy it. So that was one of the first rentals I bought.
Oh,
I bought that house, and this is 1999.
nice.
In early 1999, and I bought that, and I just rented it to him. And then that particular person that I bought that from had like dozens of properties, and he sold me like 3 or 4, and we became really good friends. And we bought dozens and dozens of properties, maybe even hundreds of properties together. And we still own some properties together. And then he kind of taught me the real estate business more from someone that's been doing it for a long time.
So you had a mentor. So mentorship is important.
100%.
Right?
100%.
They say if you get a mentor, half of your travel is lesson in life.
90-some%. Yeah.
90%?
Like, you gotta have mentors. If you just try to figure everything out on your own, you're just gonna make a lot of mistakes. It's gonna take you forever to get there.
Yeah.
Just the amount it costs you is stupid. So even when I was in sports cards, I figured it out on my own in the beginning. But as I went to baseball card shows, I figured out the people that are the most successful. I became good friends with them and learned from them, and eventually surpassed them. But without their help, it would have taken a lot longer.
Exactly. Why reinvent the wheel when somebody's already figured it out?
Yeah.
So tell me about any of your deal-making strategy or a real estate where you had to change your strategy because or you got really successful or you faced the challenges of failure, which really taught you.
Yeah, well, in everything. So with real estate, the market changes all the time. So as the market changes, you have to have a different strategy. When the market's really good, you could do lots of fix and flips because it's easy to buy stuff, it goes up, you make a lot of money, it's fast, and you can do tons of them at the same time. When the market's bad, fix and flips don't work that well because there's not many people that want to buy stuff. It's a dead market.
Right now?
Like right now. Right now is one of the slowest markets it's been in a while. So what you do now is you either have to buy stuff really low.
Yeah.
Which makes it to where you can just buy less stuff because a lot of people don't realize how low the market's gone. So it makes it a little bit tougher to buy the same quantity.
Yeah.
I like doing quantity. So like when the market was really hot 4 years ago, I was buying 30 properties a month and fix and flipping them. As the market slows down, you have to buy less. But the thing that you can do when the market slows down, and especially if it gets really, really bad, which it's not like really bad now where prices just drop.
Exactly, yeah.
I mean, prices have dropped 15%, let's say, overall. That's not that much, but the biggest problem is not the price dropping. The biggest problem is there's just not that many buyers. So even at a 15% less, there's not buyers. Like I have properties on the market that sit there for months and months right now.
I agree.
Sometimes they sell fast, but a lot of them sit there for a long time. And it's not even a price. It's just there's 10 people selling a house. There's one person trying to buy a house. So they're going to pick the nicest ones. They're going to pick the best ones they want, and then a lot of stuff sits. So the market hasn't dropped them. But when the market drops tremendously, like in 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, when it dropped like less than half, I remember properties being worth $250,000, and then a month later they were worth $100,000, and then a month later they were worth $50,000.
So cash is king right now.
Cash is king when the market's bad. So right now it's definitely going to have a lot of cash, but the market hasn't dropped enough
for the cash to
for you to buy too much stuff in cash because people haven't realized how much it's dropped, so people are still not cheap enough yet. But I made tons of money last time the market dropped in the 2008, 9, 10, 11.
A lot of people did at that time. And people have been waiting for that drop to come, but it hasn't come yet.
I don't think it's going to happen again because the biggest reason why it happened back then was because you couldn't get loans. People couldn't get loans. So the only way to buy stuff in 2009, 10 was really to pay cash for stuff. So when you're going to sell properties to end buyers that are going to live there, most of them need to get loans. But now you can still get loans. So I don't think getting loans is the problem.
It's high interest rate, which is a problem.
The highest interest rate, and then there's just too much supply, not enough demand. But people are just scared of what's going to happen with the market. So the interest rate's bigger of a problem now, but because people can still get loans, it's I think stuff will still sell. And they just announced though that they are going to lower interest rates.
Yes.
So that could help the market. Yeah. But there's so much supply right now compared to.
Tell me about your deal making strategies.
So deal making strategies. Well, before we go back to that, so in 2009, I paid cash for tons and tons of properties.
Nice.
I bought hundreds of properties. I was paying like $20,000, $30,000 for homes that are worth $300,000, $250,000 right now. So that's how I made a lot of money back then. Cash was king. Prices were low. I was able to buy a lot. But going back to deal making. Deal making is just really buying businesses and starting businesses. So I always had this like knack for finding the hot businesses that you can make a lot of money really fast. That's what how I've made most of my money. I went from sports cards to Beanie Babies, which was a fad, to Pokemon cards, to Yu-Gi-Oh cards, to Magic the Gathering, to I got into the We Buy Gold store. So I was buying gold for like 7 years. I just had 300 stores. and that's the business I made the most money on. But again, that was a fad. So all these different things like Pokemon, and they were like really hot for a while. A lot of the things I did, like Beanie Babies, and they died after a certain amount of time.
Absolutely. So you have to reinvent it.
And then I got into like escape rooms. I got into axe throwing. I got into like different like fun entertainment stuff that was really, really hot before anyone else got into it, and it was really good. So I'm really good at finding like the hot things that you can make a lot of money on.
So what are those 5 hot things you can tell them,
Well, what I can tell you is it changes all the time, and if you're not one of the first ones in the market to do it,
exactly.
you're not going to be as successful. A lot of people get into these hot things, but too late. They get into after there's too many, and it's saturated, and it's not as hot anymore. But what I do is I'm very like I'm on Google all the time. I'm on the internet all the time, and I'm always searching. What's the hottest thing in the United States? What's the hottest thing in Asia? What's the hottest thing in Europe? What's the hottest thing on the East Coast, the West Coast? And then I just find like a whole bunch of stuff, and then from there I go and I research that stuff more. If I think it's something really cool that I haven't seen that makes a lot of money, there's different ways to figure out if it makes money. You could, if it's entertainment, you can go on the booking site and see how busy they are. If it's a product, you can see how much they sell. Groupon's a really good way to find how things are very hot. I go onto Groupon and I see which Groupons sell the most in every city, in every country, and then from there, I go visit them. If I find a few good things, I go visit them and I go talk to the managers, I go talk to the owners, I go talk to the workers, and just try to see like if it makes sense for me to bring it to Atlanta where I'm at. Once I bring it to Atlanta and it does good, then I bring it all over the country. That's kind of what I've done with most of my businesses. And now I have like really good friends in different states that once I find something good here, we duplicate it. I partner because it's a lot easier to partner with people in other states because it's harder to manage big quantities of stuff. And so I have that network now, and that's kind of what I do. I do a lot of research. I look for stuff, and then once I find something good, I just try to expand it. So I'll try a whole bunch of different things. Some of them don't work, and I lose money on, and I just shut those down really fast. But the ones that work and make a lot of money, I just blow it up fast. So I don't like try to open a location or a business to open one. I do it as a test to see is it worth opening a lot, because the way you make a lot of money is in quantity, a lot of it. So, and then of course the ones that don't do good, I just shut down.
So how do you balance your time between your your real estate, then your deal making, then your own quality time?
Yeah, so
family.
Yeah, no, of course. So first off, I balance everything really well. So on the weekends, it's mostly family time. I don't really do a ton of work on the weekends. Sometimes I'll come in and just catch up on a few things, but it's kind of slow, like my work on the weekends. So I spend most of the time doing that. As far as like exercise and my time, I like to go to the gym. I do a lot of jiu-jitsu, martial arts. I do, I get massages every week. I go to the chiropractor all the time. I go in jacuzzi. And so all that I do like in the evenings. Self-care, yeah, really.
And then your mind is sharp.
Yeah, my mind is sharp. I feel good. So I do that like on the weekends and then in the evenings. So every evening I go to the gym. And then, of course, on the weekends I do all that type of stuff. As far as separating real estate or businesses, I kind of really see what the market is. When the real estate market is really good, I spend a lot more of my time on real estate.
Okay.
And when the real estate's not that good, I focus on business and see what type of businesses make sense to get into. But once I have a good business, I spend a little bit of time in the beginning getting it going, running it, and then I pass it on to my partner or employees, managers, stuff like that. So I don't spend a whole lot of time on my business once I have it going. But when I get new ones, or when I expand and get new locations, that's where it takes some of my time. But I have such a good team, whether it's managers or whether it's partners, that they can handle most of that stuff.
Big plus. You have to have the right team.
Yeah, and we're all good at different things. So I'm really good at finding the deals. I'm really good at negotiating, talking to people, all that type of stuff. My other partners are good at the operations. They're good at the build out. They're good at to me the boring stuff is stuff I don't like to do. So you got to find people that are good at stuff either you don't enjoy or you're not good at.
So tell me before we wrap up, there's one skill which would you tell the audience that really made you successful?
Oh, by far, I would say the most important skill is getting people to like you. So you've got to be able to talk to people and get people to like you. You got to build rapport, your trust, and once you do that, people will do whatever you want. Like what we started talking about in the beginning. If you like me and you trust me, if I ask you to do something, are you going to do it for me?
Exactly.
But if you don't trust me or you don't like me, are you going to do something for me?
No.
So the most important thing in the world is to get people to like you. That's what it is. If you get people to like you, you can get whatever you want in this world. I don't care what it is. There's a way to get it if everyone likes you. If people don't like you, I mean, you're screwed.
So teamwork is one of the very, very important parts of being successful.
100%.
And what would, before you leave this world, what legacy would you like to leave behind?
Just the people to realize, that I'm a good person, I help people, I'm successful, I've done everything honestly, stuff like that.
Nice. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. You probably have a lot of sea of knowledge. I can spend another 2 hours talking to you, especially on the real estate part. Thank you so much for coming to my show.
Yep.
And thank you everyone.